My loves, get yourself a cuppa. It is story time with Meg. So, I wanted to talk a little bit today about mothering of self. Mothering of self, and rather than record some 20-minute babble about this, I thought, do you know what? I'm going to actually share what I wrote in my journal this morning. And so, get yourself a cup of tea, have it as like this story time. Imagine if you were a child. You're going back to that childlike self. It's like, oh, when I watch my beautiful niece and nephew get ready for bedtime and they get so excited when they're like getting tucked in and they're having the milk and they're getting ready for the bedtime story. That is the essence, that same quality that I've yearned for so long, that same sense of nourishment and care and tender loving presence, like that is what I'm wanting to cultivate for myself here. That's what I'll be talking about today as we explore this mothering of self. And so hopefully you've got a cup of tea to hand. And yeah, I'd love to invite you to get cozy, get a cushion, a blanket, and maybe even close down the eyes if that feels good for you today. You might take a little wiggle into the body. You might let your shoulders drop down from the ears. We might even release the tension in our forehead, our jaw, our belly, our womb space. Sensing if we can feel the support of the chair, the floor beneath us today. Almost as if we could let our body go just that little bit more, trusting that we're being held in this moment. Really sensing that support that's available to us. Almost as if we could let our whole body go right now on the exhale of the breath and really trust that we're being held in this moment. Trusting that Mother Earth is supporting us, she's holding us as we sense into the ground beneath us. And so as you sense into your breath and into the warmth of your tea or your cozy blanket, to mother the self. With Mother's Day approaching, it's been really interesting to connect with so many of you ladies looking to carve out time and space just for you. It's got me thinking about my own journey of the mother archetype, these past 9 years especially. It's been a real journey of mothering my own inner child, mothering my own inner teen, and then arriving with myself today, exploring this loving, devotional, tender, nurturing care of self. Meeting myself with this gentle, loving quality of loving care, tending to my own wounds, soothing myself, creating healthier routines, boundaries, showing up for myself in the ways I'd always yearned for. It's felt so incredibly heartwarming to offer spaces in your one-to-one embodiment journeys, in our rooted journey, and within the cozy nesting workshops together this year, where you too have explored this same meeting of yourselves with such tender, loving care and devotion. Since the tender age of 14, when I knew that I wanted to be a child psychologist, I knew I was devoted to a journey of healing, of paving another way. And after 8 years of supporting children, parents and families, I'm reflecting on my role as a therapist. I have a deeper appreciation now that the devotion, the care, the nourishment truly starts with us. And so, my loves, whether you're a mother, whether you're like myself, exploring what the mother archetype means for you, here is your loving invitation to join us on this nurturing afternoon of nourishing you. Meeting ourselves in all of the tender, loving ways you wish to meet our little ones. Be that our children or our own inner child, our own inner teen. It starts with us, my loves. We root down into our own deep nourishment. And from there, may we begin to rise. And that is the end of this chapter. Oh, there's something so loving. There's this quality that I'm feeling into right now, my loves. This quality as I meet you in your one-to-one sessions. Oh gosh, and I witness you tending to these parts of yourself, like holding these parts of yourself with such love, with such care, giving these parts of yourself voice, the voice that they might not have felt that they had. Giving yourself permission to feel, to really acknowledge and validate, oh, there's this part within me that's feeling like this, and it's okay. It's okay for me to feel like that. I see and I witness you mothering yourself, being that mother for your own inner child, for your own inner teen. Being in that beautifully devoted inner masculine holding of self. Really anchoring back into creating space in that beautifully masculine presence, that beautifully inner devotion, that I am worthy of being held right now. And with that beautiful holding, seeing you really flow into your beautiful feminine of surrender, of receiving, of opening, of softening, of letting the tears flow, of letting the frustration flow. Wow, it feels like this deep integration that's happening of the beautifully devoted, present, grounded masculine and the beautifully flowing, receptive, wild, sometimes messy feminine. And I'm seeing you as women holding yourself. This is what we've been exploring in our rooted journey these past few months. We've been exploring how do we really meet ourselves with our daily acts of devotion so that we can start to cultivate this healthier relationship with our own inner masculine in a way that feels deeply present, deeply devotional, deeply rooted. And from there, we get to flow, we get to rise into our feminine, we get to really surrender into what wants to be felt in the moment. We get to meet ourselves with such loving care and grace and compassion, and we get to really give voice, this fierce love that I see coming through from this rooted place. I get to see and witness this beautiful, fierce, feminine, deep, courageous love that has the capacity in her roots to say, no, enough is enough. Or to say, this is how I'm meeting myself, and this is how I desire to be met. I know that I'm worthy because I can feel this tender loving care from offering myself this in my own nurture, my own self-honouring. I feel how it feels in my body to be worthy of love, to be worthy as I am, without having to prove, without having to push, without having to strive or to be something or someone. We root down deep into our own self-worth. We root down deep into this inner remembering, this inner knowing that we are worthy as we are. And not only are we worthy as we are, as we are is the medicine. It's what the world is needing right now, is rooted women who are deeply connected to their own source of wisdom, that are deeply connected to their own nourishment, their own solid roots. Women who are open and willing to meet the edgier, tender parts of themselves. We root down deep into the depths of the darkness, into the depths of our beautiful parts of ourselves that might not have been felt for a very long time. In the most subtle, tender, simple of ways, we meet ourselves there with such loving care, such tender grace, as though we were meeting a child that had just fallen over, or a child that was upset, and we'd hold them and we'd soothe them and we'd say, it's okay, I'm here. We meet ourselves there within our roots, so that we're no longer fearful of meeting these parts of ourselves. We're no longer striving. We're no longer rushing and chasing for something outside of ourselves. We're no longer searching for validation from the outside world. We're arriving with ourselves knowing I have the capacity to hold myself. I'm no longer avoiding the sadness. I'm no longer avoiding the uncertainty or the grief, because I know I can meet myself there. In this beautiful mother energy, I know I can tend to myself there. And so I'm no longer grasping, searching, avoiding, running. And after a woman that has spent her life running, my loves, still some days find myself catching myself there. Wow, does this feel beautiful to be exploring this mother archetype together, our roles as mothers and whatever that means to you, to mother the self, to mother the children. And when we start to root back down and root down deep into our own self-honoring, our own inner medicine, our own inner nourishment, we start to cultivate this deep sense of groundedness. It's like, wow, I can feel my feet planted onto the earth. I'm no longer tiptoeing. I'm no longer walking on eggshells. I'm no longer wobbling in my feet. It's like, yes, we'll have times in life where we wobble. And yet deep within us, we know that this is available to us, to root back down deep into our connection with the earth, feeling deeply held. Oh, and as we sense into all four corners of our feet, we start to feel a capacity to widen into our stance, to take up more space. No longer keeping ourselves small, having our feet really closely together with a narrow stance, curved over in our shoulders, looking down towards the floor, trying to not inconvenience others, trying not to get in the way or step on anyone's toes. We take up more space. We root down into our feet with a wider stance. We give more space to our hips to open. We give more space to our womb space, whether we have a womb or not. We really give space to connect in with that beautiful energetic portal that exists within us. We breathe more fully into our depths of our womb space, our belly. We take up more space with our breath. And as we reconnect with the lower parts of our body, just as we're connecting with these beautiful roots and nourishing ourselves in this beautiful dance of self-connection, of self-nourishment, we begin to feel this solid support beneath us. From there, we get to reconnect with this beautiful spine, as though we're kind of really growing into this beautiful stem, feeling into the nourishment of the roots. We get to feel this beautiful trunk, this beautiful stem, and it gets to grow, it gets to flourish, it gets to thrive, it gets to grow towards the sun. And we start to feel an opening in our chest, our heart. We get to feel the opening, and I see this all the time when I'm exploring this with you ladies in your journeys. I see, as you meet yourself in these tender loving ways, I see the openness of your chest. I see you connecting with your heart space. Your shoulders are back, your shoulders are soft, lowered away from the ears. You're breathing into the fullness of you again, as though the breath was massaging every cell of your body. I hear you making sound again, allowing your voice to be heard, allowing your breath to be heard. On my first deep dive somatic experience in retreat, I was reflected back to continuously, Meg, you've stopped breathing. All my life, I was breathing so shallowly in an attempt to stay small, to stay invisible, to not get in the way, to not be seen. And so over the past years, I've cultivated this awareness, this somatic awareness of how is my breath right now? How am I holding myself? Am I able to sense the support that's available to me in my breath, in my body, on the ground, my connection with the earth? Am I able to trust in myself? And so as I expanded my capacity to breathe, I expanded my capacity to make sound, to be in a room full of people, holding my womb, holding my heart, tending to myself, allowing myself to nourish myself with my breath. To feel my own inner medicine, to feel my own inner nourishment. And when I take up space with my belly, with my voice, with my breath, I get to take up more space with my voice. I'm holding and nurturing and loving myself, mothering myself in all of the ways that I wanted to be mothered. Really nurturing these parts of myself that I've yearned for in so many ways. And with this, I get to know that no matter what happens when I use my voice, no matter what happens when I show up and I express myself and I take up space, I know that I'm devoted to nourishing me. I know that I'm devoted to honouring me, to tending to myself. And so I no longer have to be so fearful of what might happen if I use my voice. Yes, the fear's still there. Yes, I'll still shake in my legs and shake in my feet because my body still remembers a time that didn't feel safe. And so in my humanness, in my vulnerability, in my shakiness, in my nervousness, I still allow myself to take up space. I allow myself to be okay with the times that I get nervous, the times that I shake, the times that I don't know what to say, or the times that I'm questioning who do I need to be, because I know that eventually I will come back to this deep sense of mothering, this deep sense that it's okay. It's okay that your voice was trembling. It's okay that you felt nervous. It's okay that this still feels quite new. It's okay. It's okay. And in this mothering of self, I get to meet myself. I get to honour my humanness. I get to show up more authentically as I am, because I'm meeting myself with so much compassion, so much care, so much tenderness, so much permission. And from there, my loves, when we root down deep and we rise back into our fullness, a reclaiming, a re-nourishing of ourselves. Wow. Imagine a world where we're able to connect deeply with our own inner wisdom, our own inner medicine, when we're no longer striving, grasping, worrying, no longer clinging onto an identity, no longer abandoning ourselves in the hope of being accepted by others, no longer seeking validation seeking things outside of ourselves all of the time. How might we then arrive with ourselves? How might we then arrive in our relationships? How might we then arrive with the children? How might we then arrive as a collective, as a society, when we're no longer rushing, constantly striving for something outside of ourselves? How might we then arrive in more loving presence with ourselves and one another? How might we give more permission? How might we then give more permission to ourselves to be as we are, to soften into the truth of our hearts, and to let ourselves be seen, to let ourselves connect from there? No longer running, no longer masking or pretending, but arriving as we are. A mothering, a relearning that it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. So, my loves, as my mug says, the change starts with you. The change starts with us. And it continues to be such a beautiful journey that I'm on, exploring what the mother archetype means to me. I've recently started a group after a beautiful discussion with my friend, and really leaning into our evenings in a more intentional way. If you're anything like me and the other beautiful humans that are joining this group, oh gosh, our screen time can be such a barrier to self-connection sometimes. And it's so beautiful how much the phone, social media, keeps us connected, and how much inspiration we can find from being online, how much comfort it can bring to be able to reach out and connect with others so readily. And at the same time, what I've noticed in my experience is that my screen time in the evenings was becoming this like endless distraction. It was becoming an avoidance to really be with how I was feeling. It was becoming this searching for connection outside of myself, or it was becoming this unhealthy relationship with creation where I was creating at like 1 a.m, 2 a.m, an idea would come and I'd start going into this creative vortex, which felt nourishing in the moment, but then had this really unhealthy impact on the rest of my day, my sleep. And so in the Evening Sanctuary WhatsApp group at the moment, we're sharing this loving, mothering, tender self-accountability to explore our evenings in a way that feels more nourishing. Some of us, the invitation is to send a little snoozy emoji at 9 p.m. or thereabouts, which indicates the phone is going off or it's going on airplane mode, and we're leaning into the rest of our evening in a way that feels really nurturing, really loving. For me, it's something I've been yearning for what feels like my whole life, to really honour my need for rest, to honour my evenings, to honour my sleep, and to really know that I'm worthy of that care, to know that I'm worthy of those beautiful routines, that beautiful boundary with myself, to know that now is my time for self-nourishment. Whatever that means, whether it's an episode of your favourite series and watching it really intentionally without the distraction of the phone, whether it's reading more, writing more, whether it's cooking. This past week I've been cooking so much in the evenings, having that space, having the energy, having the mind space to be able to engage with things that I've wanted to for a really long time. Being able to meditate or move on my mat or simply just be, and just to explore other things that I might have wanted to for a really long time but haven't had the headspace or the energy for, because I've been caught up in this ongoing cycle of tiredness, of late nights, of waking up late, and all of these very basic things that have been a real challenge for me over the years with this bedtime procrastination. And so that's just another way that at the moment we're exploring this beautiful mother energy, this beautiful mother archetype, this self-mothering, this self-honouring. To lean into our evenings at this same cozy, tender, loving care that we would meet our little ones with. And nurturing ourselves in the most simplest, yet loving of ways. So my loves, if any of this resonates, if you yourself are a mother, or like myself, if you're really curious about how can I begin to mother myself, to mother my own inner child in a really actionable, daily, tangible way, where I feel this deep, beautiful, devotional energy day to day, this beautiful curiosity. If you're desiring to meet your own inner teen, your own inner child with this beautiful, rooted, loving mother energy, so that you can begin to rise more fully with all of your parts and to really feel held within yourself, to feel into your own medicine in a beautiful community of other women, other humans devoted to the very same. Then we have our beautiful Root and Rise half-day retreat coming up in Bury on Saturday the 2nd of March. It's going to be 1 till 5 at the beautiful, gorgeous venue of the Old Hay Barn in Bury, with the most stunning views, the most gorgeous barn, where we create such a cozy, nourishing nest, a whole afternoon of nourishment where we get to explore all of this, where we get to feel this nourishment deep within ourselves together. Here is your loving invitation, my loves. Head on over to the link in my bio where you'll find all of the details. And there's a beautiful special offer available for those of you that sign up before the 24th of February to offer yourself this gift, especially the weekend before Mother's Day. That's when we'll be gathering together and mothering ourselves first. There's also a beautiful offer available to you ladies that may wish to book on with a friend. So be sure to go and check out all of the details in the link in my bio. And for anybody that is interested in joining our beautiful Evening Sanctuary WhatsApp group, where we lean in the most simplest of ways with a snoozy emoji at 9 o'clock or thereabouts each evening, it's our beautiful anchor to return back to each evening, to meet ourselves with compassion, to meet ourselves with permission to be human, and to come back time and time again in the most simplest of ways to this beautiful intention, mothering ourselves, nurturing, devoting ourselves to this sense of nourishment every single evening. So my loves, there we have it. I started off with a bedtime story and said, oh, instead of doing a 20-minute long thing, oh, it's clear that I could speak about this all day long. It's something I feel deeply passionate about. And so I'm letting it flow. I'm letting it flow. And I cannot wait to gather with you beautiful ladies. On the 2nd of March, we're gathering here in Bury. We are also potentially holding our beautiful Root and Rise retreat in Liverpool on Sunday the 3rd of March. So if any of you gorgeous ladies are interested, we're actually opening up that space. It's going to be a mixed space for you gorgeous humans, men, women, coming together to really nourish ourselves in Root and Rise in Liverpool on Sunday the 3rd of March. And that is going to be at the beautiful The Wellbeing campus. And so if you are interested in our Bury Root and Rise for you ladies on Saturday the 2nd, if you're interested in our open, beautiful, mixed Root and Rise space on Sunday the 3rd in Liverpool, please do pop us a message. We would love to connect with you and hear what all of this means for you. But for now, my loves, sending so much love your way. Be gentle with yourselves as always as we meet these new parts of ourselves, as we really explore what would it mean for me to mother myself, to feel into the nourishment that's available for us there in any given moment. And a little invitation for anyone that would find it nourishing today is to spend some time out in nature, to feel the beautiful holding, the beautiful support that's available to us in Mother Nature today. Maybe it's even connecting with a plant that you have in your home, if that's more available to you today. All right, my love, sending so much love your way. I look forward to possibly landing together soon in whatever way that might be. And honouring every single one of you. So much love.